Now we've got that incredibly awkward first video out of the way, I can jump straight into the topics. Just as a very quick recap though, this is my personal YouTube channel, and the idea here is for me to keep a running blog of some of the challenges that I've come across over the past 20 years of running fast growth digital media agencies, in particular project managing website projects, anything from your kind of £500 or $600 simple brochureware website right the way through to £100,000 apps for multinational companies. And the great news is, and this is going to be the topic of today's video, the approach is actually largely the same for both. Of course, I'm not recommending, if you're starting out, going straight for some of the big fish, simply because you're probably not going to be ready yet just to handle all of that. I've got my mascot in the background here again today. So what I would say is, obviously, start small, nice, easy brochureware sites that you can turn around quickly, and then as you build your skill set, you can scale up. But once you've worked on large projects, everything else becomes that much easier. It's in fact much easier then to kind of reduce what you do down into simple brochureware websites. And many agencies will turn their back on a lot of those simpler sites simply because they see that there's no money in it. However, there's two ways of making money in the web design industry. One is increasing your costs, which alienates some of those small startup micro businesses out of, you become out of their league basically on cost alone. That's fine, but there is so much opportunity, I think, that if you can create a really efficient product for a client on a small budget with a business that's potential to grow. This is really distracting. I've got a bit of a show off of a dog here, so that's Pippa. She always likes to be in the shot, and I don't know how she knows that. Anyway, back on track. So bear with me if I'm getting a little bit distracted here. So what we've got to do is pick our audience, and when you're starting out, maybe just pick a niche. So you provide websites for one particular area. So it could be a community group that you're involved with. I've had many students who I've trained over the past 3 or 4 years who have niched down into a specific audience type first, got really confident about working with that audience, because if they're in the same industry, there's a likelihood is they're going to have the same needs and requirements. Then find a platform to build websites efficiently but professionally, as quickly and as effectively as possible. So we're trying to make sure that if we're charging £500 or $600 for a website, we want to be turning that around eventually within a day. And that's what we do at Pixel 8 Studio. Our daily rate is based on £500 a day. So if we're turning around 5 websites at £500 per month, and it only takes us 1 working week for one of our team members, we're still really happy with the return on that. And when you're starting off, that's really good money to start with, because if you put the graft in, you should be able to sell 5 websites. And the platforms I'd recommend are Squarespace, if you're already a designer, because you will already know about things like design principles and how to lay out a website that looks professional. You can also stay close to the Squarespace templates. The challenges with that is the content that you create doesn't always fit perfectly with a Squarespace or any other template. You can, of course, use SquareForge. I'm just putting a little bit of a plug in here, squareforge.net. That's our rapid template builder for Squarespace. So you can buy it for a one-off fee, or if you join our coaching community, you get a license within that as well. And then you can eventually build up so you can resell and build your own templates on SquareForge. So you can build, say, 5 templates for a specific niche and then offer that as a service for a low budget but high speed turnaround website that you can start making money on from day one. If you want a simpler, more accessible website builder that doesn't cost the overhead that Squarespace does, even though you don't suffer the cost, or I would recommend that you don't cover the cost for Squarespace hosting and support and the kind of the Squarespace license fee, what you might find is that price may put off some of your customers. Because if they're paying, say, £200 a year for a website that they didn't have or potentially didn't need, and you're trying to twist their arm into getting their very first website to explain that they're going to get so much more from it, that can cause maybe headaches in terms of getting them over the line. So I could recommend hosting a website builder. Now, I've had a partnership with Hostinger for a couple of years, and I've had a partnership with Squarespace for over a decade now. So these are two platforms that I've got partnerships with the company, so I can wholeheartedly recommend both. And I've created over 100 Hostinger website builder sites and over 500 Squarespace sites. So those are platforms that I'm really confident recommending. The difference between the two is Hostinger website builder is kind of like where Squarespace was 7 or 8 years ago. There aren't as wide range of features. Don't get me wrong, Hostinger website builder is not dated. It's just simpler. There's less in the system. There's e-commerce features, but the e-commerce features aren't as kind of wide-reaching as they are in Squarespace. But then the one key reason why you might choose Hostinger website builder is on price. You can pay for one server and then host up to 100 or even on the larger server, 200 websites on one server. So it's a bit like building WordPress sites without all of the extra hassle of building WordPress sites and then maintaining them, keeping the plugins updated. Hosting a website builder is so much simpler. It has a lot of similarities with the likes of Wix and Squarespace, but it doesn't have the single site-by-site license fee. There is a catch though. When you go with hosting a website builder, you will need to choose this for only for clients who don't need to access the admin area themselves. We've got lots of clients who don't want to look at the back end of their website. They want us to do the work, for my team to come in, deliver a professional result, and then maintain it for them. And they may only want to make 1 or 2 tweaks a year. So this is where we created Project Genesis. So there's more information about this on Pixel Haze Academy. I'd recommend popping over, take a look. You can actually join our free membership and join our community, and you can ask me those questions directly as well. And if you subscribe to this channel, you'll also get more information about this over the coming weeks and months. But Project Genesis was the idea that I had to take a mobile phone contract, nice and simple. You don't pay for the phone, you pay for the minutes, the text messages, and everything in one complete package. And that is something that I thought could be quite appealing for a lot of the startup businesses that we work with. For example, this would be on a 2-year contract. We start these prices off at £25 per month, but there's no upfront fee, no £500, $600 setup fee, and they pay from day one. So we're already getting the money in, and we can then basically start building the website. And we guarantee turnaround with the website within a month, providing the clients provide us with all the information and content needed. And if we find the project stalls, we write the content with the client, and we put this into our contract that this is mandatory if the client misses their deadlines. This stops the whole issue of projects kind of spiraling out of control and just kind of going into that never-ending doom loop where the project's not finished. And if there's any web designers out there, you'll know exactly what I mean. And so that's a way that we can just avoid that solution entirely. Then we've got a third option, which I won't go into detail today. This will be part of our next video, where I'm going to talk about building simpler products. So not full websites, but maybe link trees, and which have options for calendar appointments and loads of other goodies, like being able to take payments online, sell simple digital products that could be lead magnets for wraparound services that you could provide. Loads of stuff that you can do. And the great news is that's all in one package. And even better news, we have a partnership with this company now, so I can wholeheartedly recommend it. We only choose our partners based on the quality of their products, and that company is Flowlance. I'll leave it some information to all 3 of these options in the description, but I promise you I'll be coming back very soon, probably the next video, with a more in-depth look in Flowlance and explaining how it compares and how it fits alongside Squarespace and hosting a website builder. Anyway, that's probably enough from me for today. Hope you enjoyed, hope you find it helpful, and hope you're still here, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.